Well,
Yep. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the July 6th, 2023 Police and Public Safety Committee meeting. We'll start by taking attendance. Myself, Tim Twitty, Town Clerk Michelle Martinelli, Town Attorney Maria Finnan, Judge Steve Swinton, Seth Goldstein, Janet Wynn, Jim Fody. So we're not going to miss minutes, correct? Operationally, there was a meeting held with loss prevention for Mohawk Commons stores to work more collaboratively. Detective Sergeant John Connor set up a meeting. We've noticed as a part of utilizing our SUNY analyst in analyzing crime stats that historically speaking, there's a vast amount of larceny that happens in the town of Niskuna, specifically to this area. So we called a meeting with all of the big box stores. We're going to work with them to do some waves of enforcement together because they don't always have consistent loss prevention. And also we're looking to hopefully have them seek out funds through their own companies to help provide us with technologies like LPRs and things of that nature to possibly put on premise there to help us make things a little bit more solvable quicker. So they were very appreciative of that meeting. I don't think it's ever happened before. And we're just kind of brainstorming better ways to work as a group, because what we found is everybody's sort of in their own silos, uses their own software, doesn't even communicate amongst each other internally in the mall. So more to come from that. Our department continues to prioritize traffic enforcement through both regular patrol and grant funded initiatives. We have really, I'm proud of our department, really stepped up recently. It is the summer season. People tend to move faster in the summer season. We're getting some high speeds and we're out there and we're trying to be as visible as possible within these constraints to make sure that we're doing our part to get out there and engage traffic. Fleet equipment, our 603 patrol car, the engine failed. It actually blew up. Good news is it's covered by Metro Ford. And in speaking with Lieutenant Frenier, it sounds like in the next couple of weeks, they're going to have that engine installed so that that vehicle will be back. Our 607 patrol vehicle was crashed last month. No injuries. There is a replacement vehicle for the fleet being evaluated. We're talking about because 603 is going to have a brand new engine, and because the replacement value for 607 was obviously not at the price of a new car, we're talking about shopping for a potential used administrative car with those funds and keeping 603 in the rotation longer because it will have a brand new engine. We did receive 3 new 2023 Explorers. They're in the process of being outfitted. This was budgeted for this fiscal cycle. And we're going to need a resolution to upfit 2 of those through this unit's hire from the end of this month. And then lastly, under fleet and equipment, I put it there. We're talking about auctioning unclaimed property. This is not town-owned property. This is property that we've sort of accumulated over the years with regards to cases or abandoned property that we have downstairs in our evidence and property room. So we're looking to possibly do an auction with regards to that, and maybe even in conjunction at some point with another public auction. So I think we can do that through our account. We're getting what's that?
I got a call from the resident London.
When we were going to do the bike auction. Yeah, once it gets all filled up, which it's at that point, it's time to sort of start auctioning these things off. So we're going to do that simple as well. Our building, we have some ongoing issues with the urinal. We're also looking to replace the fencing and wall around the rear of our department. It was a recommendation coming out of an assessment we had by Homeland Security to look into some sort of wall or fencing surrounding the exterior of the building, potentially, along with other recommendations. And then also under building this morning, Kelly Wetzel from McCourt had emailed about parking lot light. It sounds like Charlie already dealt with some wiring issues today, even to make it work again. They were out when I left court last night. Yeah. I know we've been having some power surges with regards to Charlie's explaining to me. I don't know if it was due to Spectrum, something with Spectrum where they're installing something, so power was getting cut. I know some of our officers lost even their power the other night in certain parts of town. So I don't know if that has something to do with triggering the lights, but Charlie continues to look into that. Training, our department is completing its annual Police One training in procedural justice and implicit bias through Police One Academy. Officers Commando and Chase are going to be attending rifle school at our range. Lieutenant Frenier and Officer Favada have been working to put that on actually today and tomorrow. And then last night, our training recruiter Brian is attending the Zone 5 Police Academy, so he's there, he's doing well. Citizen correspondence. Marita Aguilar was requesting a stop sign north Allendale and Becker Street, and also no dumping signage for the Fieldstone Estates piece of property that the town owns. It's all forest over there, and I have to thank Ray Smith and the highway guys that got over there, and they did put up that no dumping sign for that resident. As far as the North Allendale at Becker Street, it is an uncontrolled intersection. We did do a speed analysis on Becker Street, and the time period was from June 21st through the 24th. There were 1,524 vehicles that were analyzed. It was a very low speed area. I mean, speed limit is 30 miles an hour, but the average speed was 10 miles an hour, with the 80-50 percentile being 16 miles an hour. However, that was done on Becker Street coming towards North Allendale. Obviously, the speed on Allendale are going to be, that's a more heavily trafficked area. Those are going to be higher. We're probably going to look to do some analysis on there as well. But either way, I think it's our recommendation to get a stop sign on Becker Street as you enter North Allendale to control that intersection. Norman Dutcher was requesting a radar sign on Grand Boulevard. I just spoke with Officer Wyman today. It sounds like those speed trailers are going to be completed within the next day or so. We're going to get that rolling out on a schedule. We have several requests for those throughout town. Under new, Elizabeth Reynolds had requested Fairfax Ave be evaluated for unsafe speed. Officer Muller's already been in contact with Ms. Reynolds and is going to be looking to deploy a speed trailer over there as well. David Cross had reached out to us requesting extra patrol attention to Niskayuna Road over concerns of tractor trailers using this as a cut through, which is it's kind of a weird intersection because you're coming off of Rosendale and you got to make sort of a hairpin right turn to go back up towards Route 7. We did put that out to patrols to just keep an eye on because I don't know why someone would be using that as a cut through, but we're going to keep an eye on that. Specific to tractor trailers. That would be a very difficult way to navigate off those roads. So Frank, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Frank, I apologize. Sinampa, he had requested a stop sign on Wyoming at Baker Ave due to vehicles coming off of Wyoming, not yielding to pedestrian traffic. Obviously, we've heard over a number of years, Mr. Mastriani was at the forefront of that with concerns about Wyoming. We did a lot of analysis in that area regarding Wyoming Ave and the speeds on Wyoming and sort of the volume. But Mr. Ciampa lives on Baker Ave between Wyoming and Lexington. He's the only house there. And I went over and met with him, and you can clearly see that if there were pedestrians in that sort of 1 block or less radius, it would be very difficult for a commuter as they're coming down towards the yield sign due to the massive trees that are there to see in either direction potentially, and it could be a danger to a pedestrian. He said he's seen a number of times where there's been close calls. He referenced the fact that there was a bicycle that actually crashed last year, or I'm sorry, in 2021, avoiding a vehicle. And I told him I would bring this back up because even though we looked at the Wyoming Ave area, I know that Complete Streets sort of did a neighborhood survey on the Baker Ave area and Lexington Parkway area as well. And it seems like there is quite a bit of support for transition to a stop sign from a yield sign over there. And I think we need to revisit that conversation sort of moving forward to look back at it. I know Mr. Mastriani contacted me this Friday requesting that the digital speed sign be put back up. So I think we need to look back at that area again and look at it with regards to pedestrian traffic at that intersection, and that being the mechanism for potentially changing that.
In terms of enforcement too, it's a lot easier to enforce ticket on a stop sign than it is,
So
just as a practical matter.
So in just in full transparency, I've said this to the neighborhood, we would have to do sort of a public messaging and signage, because it would be folks that are used to using that intersection as a field and now becoming a stop. We don't have police officers to sit in the intersection 24 hours a day. We just don't have that resource. And so I was explaining to Mr. Santa, and I've said this to Mr. Mastriani, part of my concern in changing it, obviously, is there's going to be obviously greater requests for continuous enforcement. And so we would do a wave and we would do some public messaging. But changing patterns of behavior and commuters is not as easy as just this. And everybody needs to be cognizant of that if we were to change that. But I do agree with you, Josh. It would certainly make it easier from an enforcement point.
And if you did have an accident,
Cause and effect would be very
right,
easy.
either it was a stop
Yes.
or it wasn't.
Yes.
When it's a yield, it's like I yielded.
And like I said, I have to say, just standing there and standing on the Baker Ave on both sides and kind of observing a couple different times I went over there, a lot of folks do use Baker Ave as a pedestrian walkway. And I had suggested even to build a Bill Chapman, complete streets, long term, I think that the town, in conjunction with complete streets, in conjunction with that Baker Ave neighborhood, need to look at putting a walking path through Baker Ave Woodstock. I mean, that would kind of alleviate a lot of that pedestrian traffic to begin with, but obviously we don't control this. So that was sort of my recommendation for a longer term solution. But in the here and now, I think we certainly want to look at that stop sign versus suicide. Town events, Coffee with a Cop, the Senior Center. I am there the third Tuesday every month. I apologize, I was not able to be there last month due to workflow, but I will be there this month. Target Starbucks, our next event is August 17th at 1 p.m. Sergeant Chris Henry will be there, or Sergeant Relation. The Farmers Market is going to be this Saturday, is when it begins. Obviously, that's going to change sort of the traffic patterns inside of Town Hall. We're looking to still connect with the Farmers Market Committee regarding the details of what the needs are and requests are from our department.
Hey Jordan, I spoke to Donna Evans before the meeting, and they're gonna get something to you tomorrow,
Okay, awesome.
if not today.
Who is Donna Evans?
Donna, yeah, so she's like the third, she's the one I had a phone number for, so she's gonna get a hold of Libby and they'll have like a detailed thing for tomorrow. I apologize for late.
I'll figure it out. Town Clerk, Miss Michelle Martinelli, let's talk about Fox Pest Control.
So I have been getting complaints, with Fox Pest control going around door to door. They do have a solicitor's permit from us. Most of the complaints are that they're not wearing their actual permit that we require them to wear. They're very aggressive, rude. They're asking, the woman answers the door, I want to talk to your husband. People aren't liking cash. They're just, they're just being little,
Consistent.
yeah. And I have made a phone call to the supervisor on 6/20. I told him of the complaints so far, and since then I've gone.
Yeah. So, and I spoke with, I apologize.
You spoke to Mr.
Where are they located out of?
They're Shapiro.
Mr. Shapiro, I got it, yes.
Yeah.
So Mr. Shapiro, and I told him I would mention, his complaint was more about why are we allowing solicitation in this? It wasn't specific to Fox Pest Control, but I told him I would bring it to the committee. I don't know the reality behind eliminating solicitation. I know we have a permanent process, but I told him I would mention it to the committee because he would like us to explore eliminating solicitation. Is what he had suggested.
We've had this conversation in the past. Just didn't go. eliminating
Apply to
it.
Mr. Dingaling, et cetera, too. But
So that's the question.
I don't know if we
right?
would, door to door, actually people going to ring the doorbell for
That's
ice cream truck is totally different. Separate that out. People are placed. There's certain offense.
religious organizations.
Yeah, so that's been.
Because we actually have complaints, I remember wondering specific to that because they were still very late. 9 o'clock at night. And they were-
Yeah, they're going out later than they're supposed to. And back in 2019, we had a big discussion with our attorney and their attorneys, and 'cause they were doing basic things.
that even like high school singers with Carol, Christmas, and it's
So they were-
kind of a tough line to go on.
Mhm.
They certainly got to do it.
That's why
To me, that's a solicitor.
Yeah, they got a bucket.
I was just asking for information.
Yeah.
I don't like it, I just have a sign on my door.
I think what's hard is, so not being in compliance with aspects of template is one thing. Customer service side of things. I don't know that we can, I mean, I don't know, off the top of my head what template says, is say you have to be police polite in
Yeah.
a legal area of some sort, okay. Yeah,
Basically, yeah. Now, the Village of Scotia has a program, which I brought it up to, I think, in the past. And they have people sign up for signs. It says no soliciting. But then they keep a record of all the residents that have these signs. So I'm not sure exactly how it works. But they do give signs out to residents saying no soliciting. And I think they supply a list of people to the solicitors. So they know you can.
so it's something, but like if there was a conflict, things like that.
Remember that? That
Yes,
was,
for- wow, it's-
So you want to look at it.
no, unless the land wants to add anything, she.
No, we had a conversation and Michelle gave me some documentation from the issues that we had back in 2019 that I was not aware of. Helpful listeners.
And then it's not on the agenda, but the UPF, yeah, the UPF, so we were notified. The first office was notified on Friday
Friday.
that the UPF is now under construction through October. And so they're gonna have a limited number of documents to be able to facilitate those.
6 for everybody,
Six.
service, correct?
Six.
It's for everybody.
For everybody that they-
And we've already run into an issue.
Do I have a girl from the other day? Is there or not?
So our dog from the other day is currently being housed. This is a second, this is right now.
So they do.
They have very temporary to assist, but Dave Stone's looking into a couple different options. I have a call back in the Montgomery County. To look at it because I spoke today with Chief Police Brown and they use Montgomery County. We actually have to do new stock contract with them as well. But it's something, yeah, it's something long term that we're gonna have to look at, possibly transitioning to, yeah. But
And then you're gonna discuss with Jordan. about it.
We started, there's some language in there, I mean, I'm probably gonna send a letter regardless.
Yeah.
Which are already. sent.
We'll have contact.
yeah, it's all, I just said, it seems some services. Yeah, so. Okay, well, that's gonna be an ongoing discussion, all because, well, that may be, depending on if Montgomery County gets back to me quick, that may be for the responsible to talk about
That'd be good.
putting that, moving forward, that which is gonna affect, operation that's gonna affect us, and that's what I'm trying to explain a little bit. Yeah, Montgomery County is
That's,
significantly farther than, I mean, it's not horrifically further, but it's far enough that it's gonna take somebody a little while to get out there.
and the resident coming together.
But today we had a countywide chiefs meeting it's not just us. I mean, everybody's kind of doing the same things with regards to this, which is why I brought it in, because it's Montgomery County Sheriff's, Safety uses the Mohawk Hudson Humane Society. Everybody kind of has a backup plan for that. So. Judge, did you have any court things you want to talk about?
Other than the light, any other things hopefully you got for the clerk paperwork meeting? Starting later.
I did not get anything from Chief Planning Officer or District Two, Chief Planner regarding fire projects or things like that. The school district, we're still working on the Knox boxes. I think we've received them. School district has them. I think we're just working to get them installed. Bus patrol, I've been communicating with Assistant Superintendent Matt Leon regarding the MOA between the district and the town and bus patrol to install the equipment, so that's ongoing. Personnel, Officer Douse has successfully completed her FTO training, so congratulations to her. She'll be out there by herself now. We're continuing to evaluate resumes for potential lateral police officer transfers. We have one or two that we're working on right now. One of which I think might be a strong candidate, potentially lateral. The next test, pay attention to anything, the next test is scheduled for September 9th. And the last date of filing is the 31st of this month. We have pushed it out through Facebook. If you know anybody who is wanting to become a police officer, they did recently change some of the criteria for this test, meaning that you do not have to have credit hours from a college. So they are doing a 1-year hiatus from that to see if we can get more interest from potential candidates. So there is no requirement of college credits second county for some of the municipalities.
Did you get a poster?
Yeah.
I did get a poster.
So that always has to go to the town clerk,
Okay,
because
And I'll
usually they'll
post it
send
on
them
my
to us and to the supervisor and to,
I thought that.
I've got nothing.
I'll get it to you right after.
Okay, good, thank you.
Beyond that, I don't have it. Does anybody have anything else? Jim?
We talked about your car. Are we going to move your car into the fleet and then buy a?
I don't know that we're necessarily gonna need to, depending on how quickly the vehicles get outfitted.
Okay.
So. Especially with 603's engine being here, like they physically have it, they're waiting, I think, that like a gasket into it. They said something to that effect, so it sounds like 603 would be out there pretty quick too. So,
We might need a resolution. We want to buy 607 that as
salvage,
salvage. Thank you.
it's 2,500,
Yeah, it's only
Already sold
25.
No.
No.
it's a part of the insurance.
Because it was total.
I was told, so the insurance company's gonna pay it off, but we can purchase it then. So just being salvaged, it's not gonna be as a
I can sh-
The outfitting equipment's worth more than that, probably.
Well, the equipment's coming out, so like even the wheels, the headlight was
18 or no.
for headlight.
We talked internally, 2,500. That's what I thought. And technically we own it already. So we're just taking less insurance money, is all it is. Unless somebody says otherwise, you tell me. We can talk about it. Okay,
Just want to get it done as soon as that check gets here.
yes. Yeah, so just for resolutions, the outfit of the two police explorer, I'll get you that information right now, and then I'll put the purchase of the vehicle tentative only because that would be the administrative vehicle we're talking.
We can potentially use it. So
Yep, and then I put call for public hearing, and that was specific to the stop sign. For back there at North Isle, do you want to tentatively put the lighting in there to just discuss it? I guess. No, I think we should. I think. I spoke with the town supervisor and deputy town supervisor, and they stated that as well, so. I think we should at least have a conversation. That's all I have. There's anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Wait a second. All those in favor? It passes. Closing out at 3:56. The next meeting will be August 3rd at 3:30.